So let's continue with our second estimator. So as we discussed in our very first lecture that the second estimator of variance, that is sigma square, is only valid, will only be valid, or is only valid when our null hypothesis is true. So let me just write h naught is true. So previous estimator was like it's true without any assumption, but here it's true only when h naught is true. So we have to assume that our h naught is true. So this will start everything, like the second estimator, everything revolves around assumption of h naught is true. So assuming that h naught is true, so let's assume h naught is true, and what h naught says that all the population means are equal. And so what we can say that all population means, that is mu I, are equal. And let's say that mu I equals mu for all I, because our means are equal, so it doesn't matter. So under this condition, what we can say that under this assumption or under this condition, it follows that the m sample means x1 x2 up till xm, because we have m different populations, will be normally distributed and will be having same mean, can write with same mean, that is mu, and the same variance, and the variance will be given by sigma square by n. Correct? So now again we'll move towards sum of squares. So this is nothing new that I'm doing, that again the sum of squares of m standardized. So always I'm writing this thing that after, while writing sum of squares, I'm writing just for standardized random variables, because we know that when we subtract mean and divide by its standard deviation, everything gets standardized. So xi dot minus mu and divided by its standard deviation, which will be under root of its variance. So we can write it says, just I am arranging it taking root n above, and rest is everything as it is, and of course with sigma. So this will be now a chi-square distribution. This will be a chi-square distribution with how many degrees of freedom? With m degrees of freedom when h naught is true. So what we can write is that n, just we are taking, I am taking the square and taking all the summations. So taking all the samples, so xi square and divided by sigma square will be a chi-square distribution with m degrees of freedom. Correct? So now of course we will get our second mean, that is second estimator of mean. But here we'll have something different, like, so we'll need some notation. So again I am having some notations. So time to define some notations, that now when all population means are equal, and which is mu, then the estimator of mu is nothing but the average of all the nm data values, because here we know that all is equal, so we'll just take the average. So what we have to do is we have to take average of all the nm values of our matrix that we get. That is, we have to take xij, that is all summation from j I and j. So let me just write, start from I 1 to m, and j is from 1 to n. xi. So this will be given a new notation called x dot dot. Previously it was just x dot when we are taking within samples, but now this is not within samples but this is in between samples, correct? And that's why we'll give some new name and new notation to it. So this can be written in terms of xi as well, that summation, of course, divided by nm because we are having average. So this can be written as xi by m as well, correct? So why? Because previously this was with n, this was our xi dot, right? So let me just write dot here, I forgot it, pardon me. So now if we substitute this x dot dot, that is what we got here, this is also important equation. So if we substitute this x dot dot, or I can say x double dot, for the unknown parameters mu, it follows that, so it follows that the quantity n into summation I equals 1 to m xi dot minus x dot dot whole square and divided by sigma square will also follow a chi-square distribution. Of course, here will be I as well, right? So for all samples we are taking, all the populations. So this will be a chi-square distribution, but what will be the degrees of freedom? With m minus 1 degrees of freedom. So we'll define something called SSB now, that is sum of square but in between samples. So it's nothing but n into summation I equals 1 to n xi dot minus x dot dot and its square, correct? So this is what we have done right now. So we got two things now, because we now we'll get our variance that we want, that just we have to substitute SSB in terms of this in place of this. So I'll be substituting the SSB in place of this. So again and again I'll follow the same, that we know that for a chi-square distribution the expectation of the random variable is nothing but it's equal to its degrees of freedom that we did for the last time. So again what I'll do is that I'll just substitute expectation of SSB divided by sigma square will be equal to m minus 1, which is nothing but its degrees of freedom. So just rearranging that expectation of SSB divided by m minus 1 and its expectation is nothing but sigma square, and thus we got our second estimation of our variance, and maybe this will be our equation number 3. So first equation was for our first estimator. I maybe I put it in the box. Yeah. So equation number 2 is here. This is our first estimator, and equation number 3 will be there, which is our second estimator. So when we'll divide both these equations, of course by taking second estimator above, so second estimator divided by first estimator, of course, of variance. So first estimator of variance and second estimator of variance will divide it by keeping second estimator in the in the numerator. Then what we will get is our test statistics. Right? So this is our test statistics. Now it's time for our decision, that in our question alpha will be given, that what level of significance that we want. So based on the given value of alpha, we have to compare with the test statistics, and we have to decide whether to reject our null hypothesis or whether to accept our null hypothesis. So now the thing is that how we'll calculate the f value based on this alpha. So this I'll again tell you while I'll take the example. So we'll be needing the f value tables. So it will be provided in examination, and let me just try to search on Google and show you that how f value will look like. And let's assume that in the question our significance level is given as 0.05. So let me just quickly search, just wait for a minute. So Yeah, so I do have it. Sorry. Now, yeah. So you can see that this is on Google. If you Google it, then this is the F distribution table based on degrees of freedom. So this is the degrees of freedom on numerator, and this will be on denominator. So based on that, we have to take the value of F. Whatever value of F we'll get, what we have to do, we have to compare it with the value of F with our test statistics. Sorry. So this is our test statistics that we'll get. We have to compare it, and the decision will be, so the important step or the last step we can say. So in the problem, I'll divide this entire theory in step by step. So we have to follow just 4 steps and you are done. And every time you have to remember those 4 steps. This is just for explanation purpose or more understanding. It's not like you will just cram those 4 steps and apply it on all the datas. I just want you to understand everything. That's why I'm explaining everything. So when will this reject H naught and when will accept H naught? Okay, sorry for the noise. So let's say we have got some value of test statistics by division of our first estimator and second estimator. So let me just write neatly. Our second was divided by m minus 1 and our first was, you can just refer previous two equations that we had, equation number 2 and equation number 3. So when we'll reject, when TS is sufficiently large. So we'll reject H naught when TS is sufficiently large, then F. So what is F value that we are gonna calculate? So how we are gonna calculate those F value? So that F value will be, so now your question will be how much large? So how large TS should be? So to justify whether to reject or to accept, we use the fact that what we'll use is that, let me just write the entire thing, that to determine how large our test statistic should be, to justify the acceptance or rejection, what we'll do is that we'll use the fact that this is the fact that we can show that, or we can say it can be shown that when our H naught is true, that is when our null hypothesis is true, then our SSB and SSW are independent. So when these are independent, we can say that our test statistics has an F distribution. So it's kind of one type of distribution for those who don't know what is F distribution. So like Gaussian distribution, uniform distribution, it is also one kind of distribution. And this distribution will be having, of course, every distribution will be having some degrees of freedom. So this F distribution will also have degrees of freedom, but there will be two different types of degrees of freedom. M minus 1 in numerator, because this is for our test statistics, and our test statistics is having, sorry, we are here. So m minus 1 on the numerator and nm minus m in the denominator, because this follows from our this definition of test statistics, because numerator is having this many degrees of freedom and denominator nm minus m, right? So what we'll do is that based on value of alpha, which is given 0.05, now we'll see the value of f value in the table. So the table will be, what we have to see, we have m minus 1 in the numerator, nm minus m in the denominator, and what is the value of alpha? This. So we'll see this value in the table, and we already have the test statistics value by taking the ratio of these two things. So when our TS is greater than this value from the table that we will see, that from the table that I just showed, then we can say that we have to reject H naught. But when TS will be smaller than this, so when this will happen, we have to reject H naught. That is, our null hypothesis is not true. But when if there is other way around, we can say that we'll accept it when our TS is less than F. So let me write accept here, that we will accept when our TS is less than F, and we'll reject when our TS is greater than F. So all this thing we'll see with an example in the very next video. So thank you.